just 3 rooms. Everyone relied on kerosene lamps, and that was part of the fun. It was the middle of the Red Terror. Ethiopia was ruled by the Derg and led by Mengistu Haile Mariam, deposer of Haile Selassie. Barb pictured Mengistu, angry and brooding atop a throne in Addis Ababa, a 5-hour drive, but a world away to her in 1978. The villagers preferred the Gara system to the chairman's rules, and Barb was more concerned with being alone. It took a year to find a friend among the village children. Makeda was the only other 5-year-old girl, and the only girl of any age who didn't call Barb Ferengi to her face. They met during morning lessons. Barb sat in the last row behind the barricade of books. She kept her head down, her pencil moving, while Marty, her mother, spoke in a tangle of English, Amharic, and Oromo. Simeon, her father, taught boys in the other classroom. Makeda's hair was plaited in rows along her scalp, and one of her bottom teeth was chipped. She sat directly in front of Barb, turned around and said, "Hello, how are you?" The question felt like a prelude to more ridicule, but Barb answered anyway. "Denanine, I'm fine." Makeda pulled a bean from her dress pocket. "We play." She mimed what looked like feeding chickens. Barb nodded without understanding, and Makeda, pleased, turned back around, grinning over her shoulder whenever Marty wrote on the board. From that day on, Makeda would tug Barb away from lunch and lead her to the grove of eucalyptus and coffee trees on the mission. There, she taught Barb how to spot and flush mole vipers, to feed the ibises, and most importantly, to play mancala with beans stolen from the mission's provisions. The player who collected the most beans at the end of the game won. That player was invariably Barb, until Makeda started bringing extra beans and sitting on them. When the game was over, she slipped them into her stash. Barb argued she wasn't playing by the rules, and Makeda laughed. Barb suddenly wondered if she'd been wrong about her insistence on fairness and that cheating was a sin. But Makeda was already on to something else. They didn't trade pieces of glass like the other children, but languages. Flower for Ababa, mountain for Tarara, coffee tree for Bunazaf. Sometimes Barb told Bible stories, but she'd rather listen to Makeda's tales, stolen from the village healer, about the brothers, Borana and Barentu, about the Rat King's son, and the man who grew feathers, about Buddhas who wielded the power of the evil eye. Barb's favorite story was of Caldi's dancing goats. It made her hold the coffee berries in reverence. They were smooth and dense like her mother's pearls. The Eklunds hadn't brought much with them. 2 suitcases of clothes and books, pocket Bibles stuffed into every crevice, but the thing of most value was the necklace. Marty had tucked it into her bra to clear customs and had carved out a place to stash it in the plaster of the Eklund's bungalow. Now the hole was covered by a beaded wall hanging that depicted images of the 23rd Psalm, a shepherd's crook, a stream, a valley, a chalice. When the sun reached its peak, Barb crushed the berries between her fingers and elbowed Makeda. The girls raced back to the schoolhouse, hands sticky and uniform stained. Her mother would hiss out a sigh. But Barb's need for friendship eclipsed her impulse to lead by example. Makeda and the other children vanished after the mission gates closed, leaving Barb to wander the grounds alone, looking for scenes to draw on the sketch pad she got from the Bjornstads, the couple who tended the chickens. Barb made a game of turning over rocks. Some undersides bore the imprints of pinwheels, tiny encoded messages that had taken millennia to reach her. Sent from where? She wondered and squinted at the sky.